Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well today. My name is Mason, and this is Mason Zero ASMR. Welcome to the third installment of my mini-series on the Commander Anthology decks. I've done Kalia of the Vast and Marin of Clan Neldoth. And today, we're taking a look at Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury. So this one is going to be a little different than the first two. The first two I unpackaged from their plastic wrappings and went through the deck as it was in the box. This one I've already opened up and played with, so the cards are not going to be in the same order. With that being said, let's take a look at the deck. Our commander is Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury. 3 and 2 green for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker Freyalise. +2, create a 1/1 green elf druid creature token with tap, add green to your mana pool. -2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. -6, draw a card for each green creature you control. Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury can be your commander. I'm not sure how powerful this commander is considered to be. On the surface, it doesn't seem super crazy other than the fact that it can help you ramp a bit. But there's no game-winning aspect of the commander itself. It's very reliant on the deck built around it, but unlike a lot of planeswalkers, and even some commanders, this card does not win on its own. So I have all of the money cards on top, because I wanted to separate that so I could put them in my binders and stuff. So, it's going to be a little out of order. First card, Song of the Dryads, which I think is the big money card of the deck outside of the commander. 2 and a green for an enchantment aura. Enchant permanent. Enchanted permanent is a colorless forest land. Azuri, Renegade Leader. 1 and 2 green for a 2/2 legendary creature, elf warrior. 1 green, regenerate another target elf. 2 and 3 green, elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. Titania, Protector of Argoth. 3 and 2 green for a 5/3 legendary creature, elemental. When Titania, Protector of Argoth, enters the battlefield, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 5/3 green elemental creature token. Jiraga Warcaller. 1 green for a 1/1 creature elf warrior with multi-kicker for 1 and a green. Jiraga Warcaller enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each time it was kicked. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Jiraga Warcaller. Priest of Titania. 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature elf druid. Tap, add green to your mana pool for each elf on the battlefield. Myriad Landscape. Land. Myriad Landscape enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. Pay 2, tap it, and sacrifice Myriad search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Skull Clamp. 1 generic for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1, -1. Whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. Equip for 1. Praetor's Council. 5 and 3 green for a sorcery. Return all cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Praetor's Council. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Immaculate Magistrate. 3 and a green for a 2/2 creature elf shaman. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf you control. Lifeblood Hydra. X and 3 green for a 0/0 creature Hydra. Trample. Lifeblood Hydra enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When Lifeblood Hydra dies, you gain life and draw cards equal to its power. Ghost Quarter. Land. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. Tap, sacrificed Ghost Quarter. Destroy target land. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle his or her library. Imperious Perfect. 2 and a green for a 2/2 creature elf warrior. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. 1 green and tap. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Oron Reef, the Vastwood. Land. Oron Reef, the Vastwood enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each green creature that entered the battlefield this turn. Beastmaster Ascension. 2 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. And now we have a whole bunch of basic forests. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 basic forests. Havenwood Battleground. Land. Havenwood Battleground enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Tap, sacrifice Havenwood Battleground. Add 2 green to your mana pool. Primordial Sage. 4 and 2 green for a 4/5 creature spirit. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. Sylvan Safekeeper. 1 green for a 1/1 creature, human wizard. Sacrifice a land. Target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. Tornado Elemental. 5 and 2 green for a 6/6 creature elemental. When Tornado Elemental enters the battlefield, it deals 6 damage to each creature with flying. You may have Tornado Elemental assign its combat damage as though it were blocked. Titania's Chosen. 2 and a green for a 1/1 creature, elf archer. Whenever a player casts a green spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Titania's Chosen. Wood Elves. 2 and a green for a 1/1 creature, elf scout. When Wood Elves enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Seer's Sundial. 4 generic for an artifact. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Terramorphic Expanse. Land. Tap, sacrifice Terramorphic Expanse. Search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. Predator Flagship. 5 generic for a legendary artifact. 2, target creature gains flying until end of turn. 5 and tap, destroy a target creature with flying. Elvish Sky Sweeper. 1 green for a 1/1 creature, elf warrior. 4 and a green, sacrifice a creature, destroy a target creature with flying. Rampaging Baloths. 4 and 2 green for a 6/6 creature, beast. Trample. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Wolfbriar Elemental. 2 and 2 green for a 4/4 creature elemental. Multi-kicker green. When Wolfbriar Elemental enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token for each time it was kicked. Wolfgaller's Howl. 3 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, create X 2/2 green wolf creature tokens, where X is the number of your opponents with 4 or more cards in hand. Soul of the Harvest. 4 and 2 green for a 6/6 creature elemental. Trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Tranquil Thicket. Land. Tranquil Thicket enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Cycling for 1 green. Thunderfoot Baloth. 4 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature beast. Trample. Lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Thunderfoot Baloth gets +2/+2, and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Sylvan Ranger. 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature, elf scout. When Sylvan Ranger enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Llanowar Elves. 1 green for a 1/1 creature, elf druid. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Gargoyle Castle. Land. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. 5. Tap, sacrifice Gargoyle Castle. Create a 3/4 colorless colorless gargoyle artifact creature token with flying. Overwhelming Stampede, 3 and 2 green for a sorcery. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Jungle Basin. Land. Jungle Basin enters the battlefield tapped. When Jungle Basin enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an untapped forest you control to its owner's hand. Tap, add 1 colorless and 1 green to your mana pool. Elvish Visionary. 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature elf shaman. When Elvish Visionary enters the battlefield, draw a card. Lyanowar Huntmaster. 2 and 2 green for a 3/3 creature elf warrior. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Fresh Meat. 3 and a green. Instant. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token for each creature put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn. Harrow. 2 and a green. Instant. As an additional cost to cast Harrow, sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Whirlwind. 2 and 2 green. Sorcery. Destroy all creatures with flying. Assault Suit. 4 generic for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has haste, and can't attack you or a planeswalker you control, and can't be sacrificed. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of equipped creature until end of turn. If you do, untap it. Elvish Archdruid. 1 and 2 green for a 2/2 creature elf druid. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Tap, add green to your mana pool for each elf you control. Silk Lash Spider. 3 and 2 green for a 2/7 creature spider. Reach. X and 2 green. Silklash Spider deals X damage to each creature with flying. Terastodon. 6 and 2 green for a 9/9 creature elephant. When Terastodon enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent put into a graveyard this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. Emerald Medallion. 2 generic for an artifact. Green spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Well-Wisher. 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature elf. Tap. You gain 1 life for each elf on the battlefield. Soul Ring. 1 generic for an artifact. Tap, add 2 colorless to your mana pool. Somehow that didn't end up in the pile of good cards. Swiftfoot Boots. 2 generic for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equip 1 generic. Essence Warden. 1 green for a 1/1 creature elf shaman. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Desert Twister. 4 and 2 green for a sorcery. Destroy target permanent. Creeper Hulk. 3 and 2 green for a 5/5 creature plant elemental with trample. 1 and a green until end of turn. Target creature you control has base power and toughness 5/5 and gains trample. Lore Seeker's Stone. 6 generic for an artifact. 3 tap, draw 3 cards. This ability costs 1 more to activate for each card in your hand. Slippery Karst. Land. Slippery Karst enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Cycle in for 2 generic. Overrun. 2 and 3 green for a sorcery. Creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. Masked Admirers. 2 and 2 green for a 3/2 creature elf shaman. When Masked Admirers enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 2 green. If you do, return Masked Admirers from your graveyard to your hand. Sylvan Offering. X and a green. Sorcery. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create an XX green tree folk creature token. Choose an opponent. You and that player each create X11 green elf warrior creature tokens. Farhaven Elf. 2 and a green for a 1/1 creature elf druid. When Farhaven Elf enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. Grave Sifter. 5 and a green for a 5/7 creature elemental beast. When Grave Sifter enters the battlefield, each player chooses a creature type and returns any number of cards of that type from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. Hunting Dryad. 3 and a green for a tribal sorcery elf. Create 3/1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Reinforce 3 for 3 and a green. Siege Behemoth. 5 and 2 green for a 7/4 creature beast. As long as Siege Behemoth is attacking, for each creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Elvish Mystic. 1 green for a 1/1 creature elf druid. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Haunted Fengraf. Land. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. 3, tap, sacrifice Haunted Fengraf. Return a creature card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Timberwatch Elf. 2 and a green for a 1/2 creature elf. Tap. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves on the battlefield. Moss Diamond. 2 generic for an artifact. battlefield tapped. Tap, add green to your mana pool. Wave of Vitriol, 5 and 2 green for a sorcery. Each player sacrifices all artifacts, enchantments, and non-basic lands he or she controls. For each land sacrificed this way, its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then each player who searched his or her library this way shuffles it. Collective Unconscious, 4 and 2 green for a sorcery. Draw a card for each creature you control. Reclamation Sage, 2 and a green for a 2/1 creature elf shaman. When Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Commander's Sphere, 3 generic for an artifact. Tap, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Sacrifice Commander's Sphere, draw a card. Thorn-Wield Archer, 1 and a green for a 2/1 creature elf archer with reach and death touch. Evolving Wilds, land. Tap, sacrifice Evolving Wilds. Search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. Wren's Run Packmaster, 3 and a green for a 5/5 creature elf warrior. Champion an elf. 2 and a green. Create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Wolves you control have death touch. Grim Flowering, 5 and a green for a sorcery. Draw a card for each creature card in your graveyard. Drove of Elves, 3 and a green for a star creature elf. Hexproof. Drove of Elves' power and toughness are each equal to the number of green permanents you control. Crystal Vein, land. Tap, add colorless to your mana pool. Tap, sacrifice Crystal Vein. Add 2 colorless to your mana pool. And then we have all of our tokens. Got a Tree Folk, a Gargoyle, some 4/4 beasts, 5/3 elementals, 1/1 elf druids that tap for green, 2/2 wolves, and those are the tokens. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video. This was the Freyalise Llanowar's Fury Commander deck from Commander Anthology. Stay tuned for the next video, where I will go over the Derevi Imperial Tactician Commander deck, and then we will be done. I hope you've enjoyed these videos so far. If you haven't seen the others, go check them out. Until next time, I hope that you are relaxed, or entertained, or both, and hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, like and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you all in the next video. Good night.